what you're working on. We'll get
Right,
to
right,
that.
right.
What excites you? What inspires you these days? What are you reading? What are you watching?
I've been a big fan of some of the monster invention reimaginings that we've seen cinematically. I loved Guillermo's Frankenstein, and I absolutely was blown away by Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride. I thought that was so fucking cool. I love when people are willing to take a risk and a gamble on the stories and the things that we are so familiar with and we think we know and we understand and that they can go into and play with. I mean, I've been shouting James Tinian IV's name from the rooftops forever, and he keeps proliferating and making more and more amazing stuff, and I love that. I think Distillery's doing amazing work in the publishing game, and I love, I'm trying to get, actually, I've got some stuff that I'm putting out this year, and I'm really trying to get Tuolote to do a piece for us. I think there's a lot of people in the world of comics right now that are doing really profound and interesting work, and I love going to a shop and just seeing what I can stumble across, but it's nice seeing people getting their flowers and getting recognition and getting to expand. I think Scott's one of the smartest writers in comics, Snyder, and I love that he just keeps getting to make more and more really good stuff. And there's a lot of new talent on the scene that's exciting to watch. In television, I am a big fan of the unscripted competition drag horror show Dragula. Yeah, I judge every season, and yeah, I love seeing artists be artists. I think that world of artists and artistry, I mean, in competition is fascinating, but I'd also like just seeing behind the scenes and see what they're doing in their real lives. Yeah.
Okay, so TV, were you a One Piece? Are you a One Piece fan, and did you seek out that role, or did
Good question. Very good question. I see a lot of One Piece. Raise your hand if you're in One Piece cosplay, so I don't miss you here. Yes, there's one. I see a Mr. 3 here. I see a Nami. I see a Chopper. There we go.
I'm telling
Wonderful.
you, he's really good.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm watching the kid from the
There's
show.
Luffy.
Yeah.
So here's how I learned about One Piece. This is the gift of being a parent when you've got two really cool kids, which I do have. My son, I don't know exactly how it happened. I didn't certainly put it in his hands. I put a lot of comic books in my kids' hands, and they were like, these are cool, but on their own, they kind of have been finding their own things that they really love. And my son became deeply passionate about manga and the world of manga, and to the point where I couldn't keep up, and it was hard for me as a responsible parent, which I'm not often, trying to stay on top of what he was reading and what was actually age appropriate, because he could get his hands on everything, and I was like, oh my God. But God bless Oda in the world of One Piece, because it's one of those awesome books that's appropriate for all ages, but it is never a kid's book. It's like totally one of those things that just checks the boxes if you're a grown-up, and it's so masterful and it's beautiful and the world is so expansive and it's so smart and imaginative, and I think it says a lot about the world in a positive way, because we need that right now. And so my kid, he got big into that, and he read all the books, which if you've kept up, there's a lot. So that's how my fandom started and he would talk to me about it, and then we would watch the anime sometimes, and he was like, getting big into anime as well, and so we were trying to do both the subs and the dubs, because you want to like see the original, but also it was cool because my kids are both learning to read it now. One's in 6th and one's in 3rd grade, and so those shows can weirdly be educational, which I love. And so when the call came in, my manager was friends with one of the showrunners, and he called me and he said, do you know about this thing, One Piece? And I was like, why? And he was like, they've got this character that they just seem to think is write for you. Would you want to do it? I was like, clear my calendar. We're going. Can I bring the kids? And I took the kids with me to Cape Town, South Africa. They were on set. Both of my children got to meet all the actors that play all the characters that they love. My daughter has gotten to really love the world as well, and she's gotten to know a lot of those actors. But when we were on set, Kiki, who plays Luffy, he's so awesome. And we were shooting some of the scenes in the cave where I'm battling Luffy. And before the takes, he would go, "This is dedicated to Arlo and Penny!" It was so great. And they were there, like, watching. And Arlo was giving so many good notes and feedback that one of the producers was like, I think we have to give him, like, a consulting producer. As a matter of fact, I would like to ask a favor of the WonderCon family, if you guys don't mind. I have someone who is turning 12 this week in the house with us. His name is Arlo, A-R-L-O. And if you guys don't mind, I'd be so honored if I could bring my little slugger up here and we could do a quick rendition of the birthday. That's okay.
All right, you over there?
Oh, I guess you can sit there. Ready? Thank you, WonderCon. I love you.
All right. You can go back and sit down and go run around. Just stand and talk.
Just stay out of trouble.
What did he get? Oh, guess what me and Arlo are doing right now, Gary? Because everybody really wants to know what I'm doing. We're playing Magic, and it is so fun. Oh my God, it is really cool. He just got a new commander deck today, but he's sifting through the Spider-Man, building up his own. Now you'll have 3 commander decks by the time this weekend is over, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's really fun.
Definitely.
Having a good time.
Is storytelling at your core? Is that
Yeah.
really what you're all about?
Because it all comes back to story and telling stories. I loved ghost stories around the campfire as a kid. I loved watching the stories that I could see in cartoons after school and the Friday night creature feature in comic books and books, movies. And stories, when told in their finest form, I believe make us feel less alone in the world. And I think that the universe has this bizarre dark matter force in it that inexplicably seems determined to separate us from one another and convince us that we're alone. And I don't know why things that are hard exist and things that are easy exist and why the good exists and the bad exists. It's baffling to me, and I won't figure it out by the time I leave this place, but I can in moments of, splendor and serenity and like that wonderful feeling of like purpose, be like, oh, when I'm watching or reading or lost in a story and I've connected deeply on a like cellular level with the characters, I feel seen. I feel less alone in the world. And when I tell a story and it happens to go well, and that's as an actor. Obviously, I've been so lucky. I've worked with master storytellers who just do such exceptional work. And then when I'm writing a story or crafting something and it works and it really connects with people, it's the best. I love entertaining people, of course. I think it's a blast to just help take people on a roller coaster ride. That's so fun. But down in its heart, like in its guts, I love when it really sings, because I think people, no matter where they are in their life, no matter who they are, no matter how they identify, how they look, how they live, where they're from. Like, they just feel connected and they feel less alone. And that's a treat, gift, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some of those things.
Yeah.
Tell me about Through. Tell them about Through.
Thank you.
I love the Brian Fuller introduction.
Yes.
And so much in such a short span that frames everything perfectly.
And Brian Fuller. I mean, let's
Yeah,
get Brian
Brian
Fuller. Brian Fuller.
Very personal story, though.
Yeah. So with a book like Through, you know, I came up with the idea back in the mid 2005, 2006. I was living in Chicago. I was several years into sobriety journey and just trying to figure out what my purpose was in life, what I was doing with my life. And I was obsessed with this one outsider artist whose work was on display at the MCA, and there was free different days of the week in Chicago to go to museums. I had no money. I was working in telemarketing and at a movie theater, and every Wednesday would just spend my money at the comic shop or going to see movies, and I would go for free to the museums. And I found this artist named Henry Darger, who was a janitor who no one really spoke to his entire life. He passed away, and when they went to clean out his apartment, they found this trove of thousands of pages of artwork that he'd created, paintings and stories. He created a whole world, almost like Lewis Carroll type of transportive, imaginative storytelling, Frank L. Baum type of stories, children's stories, but not really, they were strange. So I was like, who does that? Who works in a vacuum like that? Because I create stories to share with audiences and to tell people. But at that time, I didn't know if I'd ever get an opportunity to do it professionally. So what I was writing just for me and alone. And time went on, and I came up with this concept of a woman who is, a type A personality, pushing herself, struggling. She's an orphan. She has made her own way in this world, and the lesson that she believes she has learned, which is a lesson at one time that I believed I had learned, was that, like, you're in this thing alone, you do it alone, and that's the only way you're gonna make it. And she's successful enough that at our story's beginning, she's just devastated because she's achieved what she thought she wanted in life, and she's working her butt off around the clock, but she's deeply inside troubled. And the pieces of the mystery of the story came together in a way that I just kept finding, like, new pathways in this labyrinth that was creating this massive, big tapestry of a story I wanted to tell. But stories don't really matter if the underneath, like the beating heart, why you gotta tell it, isn't there. And for this one, it really came into focus, ironically, weirdly, magically, mysteriously, universally, in this way where the same moment that the publisher who I had told the idea to said, you can go write this, we will publish this, we'll partner you with a great artist, we'll pay them to do the art, we'll put it out properly. That happened at a moment when I was really going through a dark moment. And it just happened to be this gift where I could write the story while I was trying to understand this struggle that I had. To simplify things, one of the things I've struggled with in life is this addiction to, like, control, trying to control all of the pieces around me because I think it'll create a sense of safety. And if I could just be in control of every element of everything that's around me, it's compulsive, but you think that it's gonna make you feel safe and everything's gonna work, and it doesn't. Everything just falls apart, and it's really debilitating. And that's what this character is going through. And I was like, oh my God, I'm her and she's me, and I understand everything that's happening here. And so the story just kind of came to be that way. And now it's out, and you can get it from Z2 Publishing. Get it at your local comic shop. Yeah.
Yeah, you can applaud. That's fine. This is the David Appreciation Hour. We're here for that. I'm here for that. I'm here for the comic book Summer of David, by the way. We got
This summer's a big one.
It really is.
So Through just came out,
Right.
and that's like a 134-page graphic novel. The art is incredible from Cat Staggs. We've got a beautiful David Mack cover. I'll be continuing to promote that and share that with the world. And then
the accessory.
the accessories coming very soon. That was the brainchild. I give more credit to my writing partner on that one for the origination of the idea, Leah Kilpatrick, who is actually with us in the house. Can we all give a round of applause to my amazing creative partner? She's hiding under her chair. And Penny, can we give a round of applause for Penny, my daughter? Because she's a star. I love you guys. So Leah and I became friends in Chicago around the same time that I was thinking about writing Through. So I think we met in 2008. And the first thing we did, she cast me in a short film that was like a horror science fiction piece called Gateway that was very cool. Anyway, we've been working together, writing together for a while, making a lot of cool stuff. But the accessories is the story of all of the henchmen and women to the great monsters. So you've got Renfield, you've got Igor, and now this new twist on the character that we've created, Mrs. Hyde. And all of them are trying to come out from under the codependent and abusive and toxic relationships that they've had with their masters for decades. And when they do, they're stuck between the raging citizens and humanity who sees them as having been accessories to all these horrible crimes for so long, and then the monster masters who are trying to chase them down because they know all their secrets and their vulnerabilities. And so in between are these accessories, and they're like their own little team up of wonderful characters, and I love them so much, and I love making this book, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's very cool.
So it's a applause is good. 5-issue miniseries coming in
Four issues, but there will be more. So when we say 5, it could be 7, it could be 8, it could be 10, it could be endless. We're just gonna keep making them.
and that's coming in June.
Coming this summer from Panic, which is a brand new publishing company who are doing some really cool stuff. And it's fun because the first issue is Igor's story, the second issue is Renfield's story, the third issue is Mrs. Hyde's story, and in the 4 we bring them all together, and it's set in 1930s London. The art is magnificent. It's beautiful. We're going to be releasing a lot more stuff on that soon, so stay tuned, and we'll definitely be having a presence at San Diego if anyone's going to be joining us there.
Oh my God.
And then
in July,
we have another.
you want to say it or you want me to say it?
You say it.
Kingdom of Earth.
Kingdom
From
of
Dark
Earth.
Horse.
Yes, Dark Horse Comics, who gave me my first opportunity as a comic book creator with Count Crowley, back when she was just a reluctant midnight monster hunter. Thank you. Dark Horse, such a home for monster storytelling, and when we came up with this idea, again, my amazing writing partner, Leah Kilpatrick, and I pitched this to Dark Horse, and my elevator pitch is like Planet of the Apes, but instead of apes taking over the earth, every monster that you've ever heard of. So imagine every monster that you've ever seen, read about in mythology and lore in popular culture, literature. Basically every monster that's ever been known to the minds of mankind has risen. And that could be from like whatever hometown you have, if there's a local lore monster there, to, you know, the kaiju, to all the cryptoids, to the Eastern European. I mean, everything exists in this world, but they're located to the regions from which their stories originated. So our story begins in basically north central North America. And so all the monsters that would have come from that part of the world are kind of battling for dominance. And humans are just food or slavery at this point. And one really cool kid escapes a food truck and by food truck I mean they were on the truck to be food. And they are trying to survive. And they find the most unlikely of allies because there happen to be a couple monsters of conscience that are starting to question the way things are happening. And I'm really proud of the book. Sue Lee, I don't know if anyone's a fan of Sue, I think she's incredible. She's a writer in her own right who's well accomplished. She's a Stoker winner and her art is phenomenal. And if the people who love Magic the Gathering, I was saying this to Leah the other day, I was like, one of the things I love about Magic is that in the world of like playing a commander battle the other night, I have like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fighting monsters from Greek mythology, fighting monsters from like Tolkien. In Kingdom of Earth, it's like that, like all those monsters from all these different realms and worlds are in the same universe.
So it's monsters making a meal out of mankind, but there is the underlying theme is hope.
There is still hope. And interesting, you turn on your news right now, I don't know. But yeah, there are monsters running things in the world of Kingdom of Earth, and they are just, it's like, imagine too, what's really fun with this book is all the monsters now have taken over and they're trying to form their societies. It's like, okay, who's gonna be the boss? Who's in charge of what? They're fighting over that. And there's infrastructure to be dealt with. There's, organization that needs to happen. It's not just chaos. This is several years after this all happened. So now they're trying to kind of settle into like, what is our hierarchy? Who is making sure we have enough energy for this thing? And they're kind of looking at the way that humanity's been doing things. And they're like, some of this stuff is incredible and fascinating. And man, these people are also a bunch of animals. Like, what a bunch of maniacs. I can't believe they did this to each other. I can't believe they operated this so inefficiently. And it's really fun for us to be at a time when I personally am baffled and I'm questioning more than ever the way that things work and the way that systems are operated and the way that our whole society is functioning right now. It's been a really excellent exercise in getting to step outside of that and look at it now from the perspective of imagine if you had never seen any of this stuff before. You're just like, huh, is that the best way to be running things? I don't know. I don't know.
Some of us say it every day.
Yeah, I'm scratching my head every day. And it's nice. I know a lot of people out there right now are probably feeling, I don't know, anguish, anxiety, stress, fear about the state of things in the world. And you might even be one of the groups of people who are under attack or under threat right now. And I'm so fucking grateful that one of the many benefits to the job that I have is that I can creatively sit and meditate on these big thoughts and questions and fears that I have, and I have a place that I can wrestle with them, which is in, writing and creating. It's and I don't take that lightly, and I don't take it for granted, and I hope it you can feel it when you're reading these books that we're working on.
When I'm writing, I have trouble thinking I could work with anyone else. I want to write it and it's coming from inside me. How does the collaboration with Leah work?
It works splendidly. It's hard. It's a battle sometimes. It can be tricky. I've benefited so much from co-writing. I've done a number of collaborative writing projects, and what I always try to do is learn from my collaborator. So when I first pitched Leah on us writing together years ago, my thought was she's got such an amazing background in comedy and she's done so much really funny comedy writing and she loves monsters. I was like, I want to enhance the comedic elements of my writing, which I don't have those chops. And so I was like, could we try and spitball on maybe a short or a one shot or something and see if we could really, be good balance for one another. And so our process isn't set in stone. Sometimes it's like one writes 5 pages, passes it to the other. They look at those 5 pages and then write 5 more. But there's been incidents where, Leah started writing an issue and ended up writing the whole thing. I think we balance each other very perfectly because I tend to look at the big picture of everything, and I have a kind of bird's eye view on story and character. And sometimes with such a bird's eye view, you miss a lot of the detail, and I think God lives in the details in storytelling. And Leah's like, she's like, this is like Sherlock Holmes. I mean, she's in every little nook and cranny and every detail of every panel and every line and every word. And so I think we balance each other well. Yeah. Sometimes I piss her off.
Leah wants to contribute right now. She's gonna.
She's going like this.
Stop talking about me. Okay, I get it. I like her.
Yeah, she's pretty great. Yeah.
Where are we going next with Count Crowley?
So Gary didn't know about this, but Count Crowley mostly comes from Dark Horse Publishing, but it is an IP that I get to play with, and I own the rights to the character. So I've done a couple of independent publishing projects, including a Count Crowley and Kolchak the Night Stalker crossover, which is really fun and cool. I also did
We'll be stopping at Golden Apple this week.
Yeah, I did a Steve Niles with his Criminal Macabre Count Crowley crossover, which was really fun. So Jerry Bartman, as when we last saw her, was like really thinking she was starting to figure some stuff out. She was learning how to battle monsters, and unfortunately, the cost of this new life took the life of somebody she cared very deeply about. And so I am in the process right now of putting together the next story, because there's a group of these Frankenhooker type creatures out of Kansas City that were being put together by this mad scientist as a funded operation from some vampires who were trying to see if they could reinvigorate dead life and use those bodies as blood banks, basically, to feed the vampires so they wouldn't have to kill innocent humans anymore. But unfortunately for the vampires, the way that they were financing this operation was by using these reanimated Jane Does as unwilling sex workers. And they were like, no, we're done with this. And so they killed all of the guys, and then they escaped. So they're wandering the streets of Kansas City right now, looking for blood. So Jerry's got her hands full, but that's when and where I can't say yet, but I know that there will be more coming. And I want to see Jerry's story told in other mediums too. I think that she would make really great in other outlets. That's all I'll say about that. I want to see her. I'd love to see the live action version of Count Crowley at some point.
Would you play him?
I think I'd be a great Rich Barnes. I could be the original Crowley who's been missing and then shows back up in a weird way in Volume 3. I would also love, there's some of the vampires. I always want to be the vampires. Like Lee and I have always said, if we were able to get the accessories sold as a TV series or movie, that I'd play Dracula. And he's a piece of shit in this book. He's a real a-hole. I'm like, okay, that's fine. No, I love the vampires.
What's the genesis of your fascination with monsters?
It's a bunch of things.
Or obsession?
Both. Fascination, obsession, love. I love monsters, the good monsters, the bad monsters, but I really love the good monsters when I was, like I said, the first thing that I remember really having that massive impact on me. And as a kid, it was always monsters. Always. Scooby-Doo. All the monsters on Scooby-Doo. You name it. I loved Halloween. I was raised in a very conservative, religious household where monsters were not celebrated and they were seen as, bad and dark, and Dungeons and Dragons was considered satanic, and all the monsters in the worlds of Fangoria magazine was like tantamount to, snuff films or something. It was like you were looking at evil itself. And I knew that couldn't be totally true, but I didn't know why. And seeing Oliver Reed transform into the werewolf and be terrifying and murderous, but also being so tragic and sad, and I loved and cared about him at the same time. I thought that said something to me. And then as a kid, I used to dream about monsters all the time. I used to just be obsessed and fascinated by monsters and vampires. And then
dream or nightmare?
I would have dreams and nightmares. I would wake up scared, but I'd want it to come back. And I was tempted by that. I was lured by it. It was something really special to me. I don't know what it was. Again, Halloween, very special. I really was obsessed with special effects makeup artistry and wanted to be a special effects makeup artist at one time. Really wanted to write horror comics, love horror comics, and wanted to make horror movies. And then philosophically, I guess, as I, again, it's no secret that I wrestled with addiction, and then when I came through that and got clean, the impulses and the compulsivities and the default and defective behaviors that were at the origination of the underlying beast that was my addict self manifested in many other ways. So in my own life, I've known what it's felt like to be a bad monster. I've known what it's felt like to have people be hurt by you, be scared of you, be afraid of you. I've also known what it's like to be in the presence of bad monsters and be hurt and scared by and afraid of humans. And I've also been the good monster, and I've known what it's like when you feel like you can harness this thing that you've been given. Sometimes it can feel like an affliction, but sometimes it can feel like an insight. It can feel almost like a secret power. It can feel like something that transforms you under the full moon into something else. And I'm hungry for that. I wanna be a good monster as much as I can and support and protect all the good monsters. And I can't always be that, but we try.
All right, you can pick your role. Are you going to play a hero, a villain, an anti-hero, or do you want something undefined?
I love something undefined. I do love a good villain because they're so fun and they get the best costumes and makeup. And I've never played a character that is villainous as a villain. It's just boring. I don't think, you don't go to play Iago and say, ooh, he's evil. You go and play Iago as like, this guy's worked his ass off. He has busted his butt. He deserves this promotion. And here comes this dude that just took it away from him. The world is so unjust and unfair. All of us can agree. Like, there is no such thing as fair. If you're walking around this world waiting for it to be fair, you're on a fool's journey. And so there's two ways to look at the world. Either like, that's the way things are, so let's make the most of it and let's make the best of it. Or, I've been so screwed, I deserve this thing. I am entitled to this thing. People will die. I'm a man of my word. So I just go, that's fun for me to get in that psychology and understand what that's like to play. And I don't know, man, maybe I get to go and play these crazy, mean, awful characters and it gets stuff out of me. I don't know, but I love it. It's fun. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe next year I'll be like, oh, I really want to play a nice guy. I think Garathan's very sweet. I don't know if anyone watches Murderbot.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That's coming up on my question.
Garathan's a sweet guy.
What?
I don't know.
Oh.
Good job.
You made me think somebody was...
Murderbot. Oh, look, there's a Murderbot in the audience. Yay!
Okay, so
Sanctuary.
I loved Murderbot.
Thank you.
Can't wait.
I love working on it. It's a great film.
Okay, so let's play lightning round real quick. Murderbot. What was the high point for you, and is there more?
So Murderbot, the high point for me was the same time that I was writing through, and like I said, just going through probably the most difficult time I've ever felt psychologically, emotionally, spiritually in my adult life. I was making Murderbot, and you don't get to go to your work when you're working on a TV show and go, guys, I'm kind of having a tricky time. I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. You don't. There's so many luxuries that come with my job. That's not one of them. And sometimes you when they say the show must go on, they joking, because it's like, oh, how am I supposed to go to work today? But Garathan, for anyone who's seen the show or is familiar with Martha Wells' insanely exceptional books, the character is a lot common with me, including this compulsive desire and control, trying to control all the things around him, trying to control the pieces because he thinks that's going to make him safe, but also the people he loves safe. He loves Prezok so much, like he loves his little family so much. And he's a recovered addict. And highlight for me was going into work and just letting the words come out of my mouth that were as truthful as could be from my own soul. Like there wasn't any digging I had to do. As long as I just said the words and got out of the way and let my breath carry them out of my mouth, they just sang. And Chris and Paul Weitz are just gifts to the world of storytelling and filmmaking and TV, and I'm so grateful that I get to be in their presence. And in fact, I am honing up my schedule as we speak. I will be heading off to shoot. Oh my God, I don't know if I can say this out loud. I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I think there will be more of Murderbot coming. I'll say that. There is more Murderbot coming. Oh, did I just pull a Tom Holland? No, I
You did not admit anything. You get it. There was a maybe in there, I think. Okay, what was Oppenheimer like for you?
Oppenheimer, oh my God. So, first movie I ever did, first time I was ever on a professional film set was Chris Nolan's The Dark Knight. It changed my life. That movie was one of the best experiences you could imagine and dream for as a first-time actor. And then years go by and you don't ever get to I never got to talk to him or know anything. And so you go I had my dance. I got to go and be in a Chris Nolan film, and I may never see the man again for the rest of my life. And that's okay. You dream and you hope that I wonder if he ever thinks about me. I wonder if this, because in the years since I went on to work with Denis Villeneuve and make exceptional films. I got to be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I got to work with a lot of different wonderful directors and in movies. So I always had this secret hope that maybe Nolan would see me in something and be like, oh, I remember that guy. He was that Chicago actor. And I was doing The Suicide Squad with James Gunn, and that movie was produced by Charles Roven, who also produced The Dark Knight. Chuck Roven, legendary producer. Chuck and I got very close during Suicide Squad, and he works with Chris often and produces a lot of his work. And I started working with Chuck when we were coming through the pandemic, and I think he just brought my name up to Chris at one point when they were in the pre-casting process for Oppenheimer, and luckily he thought that I would be the right person to come in and play this bulldog. I mean, to be at the right hand of Robert Downey Jr. was something that I never dreamed I would get to do in my career. Robert's personally and professionally been a hero for me for many years, and when I got to go work with him, that experience was just, it was it's like so many experiences I've had. I feel like I get thrown into these circumstances where I'm playing with the greatest, and you just have to be able to play ball with them. And Robert made me feel so at home and so close, and he's become a very close friend who I love dearly. He's like a brother to me, and I'm so grateful that he exists in this earth. He's such an amazing human. I can't wait to see what he does with Victor Von Doom. Yes, it's gonna be awesome.
Are you allowed to talk about Street Fighter?
It's a great video game. And it was a movie that I thought was awesome when I was a youngster.
You like Raul Julia?
I mean, yeah, so what'll I say other than one of the great honors of my life was getting invited to be a part of going to make the cinematic telling of this story, knowing that I'd be stepping into the boots filled by one of my favorite actors of all time. And also knowing I've spent a lot of time in genre spaces now, in films and television, and also animation. And I've never been a part of bringing a video game to cinematic life, but I know how fans feel because I am one, and it's one of the scariest things next to like probably Late Night with the Devil that I've attempted to do yet cinematically, because you have to take into account that there are millions of people who have such strong opinions about what a certain figure represents to them. And then you have to take into account what the creators of that character, what that means to them. And then you have to take into account the vision that the director has for what that character means for them. And then you have to take into account what you personally bring to that vision that no one else in the universe could do. What is that one, what are those things that make you that particular special? And I'm grateful for the time that I spent in the theater, because going and doing things like Shakespeare, Tennessee Williams, Edward Albee, you portrayed characters that people had done successfully thousands of times before you. So you had to let go of your fear of being compared to people, compared to expectation. But I'll be honest, I get really, it's nerve-wracking. It's a big step for me, and I'm so proud of what we did, and I had such a magical time making it, and I'm very excited, but also terrified, but excited. I'm really proud of him, and I think Katau's a genius. Oh my God, I can't wait for you guys to see what he did. He's so talented.
Line me up for October. Hey, Grave Conversations. You got a couple of years on your belt on that. Aside from the coffins, what do you strive to do to separate yourself from normal interviews?
What I strive to do to separate myself from normal interviews is create a space where, even though tonally I do have a pitch to the way I deliver the interviews, and we have a consistency with the questions and the different sections of questions, and we're laying horizontal, which definitely does something to the subject, like both you and the person you're interviewing. It just is a relaxation. The feeling that I always say to people when I'm interviewing them is, it feels like when you're with a friend and you're a kid and you've been hiking all day and you lay on a hill and you're just looking at the clouds above you. That's what it really feels like you're two pals just laying out there, just looking at the stars, just having a chat. And so what I think hopefully feels special about it is, if you watch the different interviews, the energy that people bring, who they are as people, how they are energetically when it comes to death and dying, when it comes to their fear or their curiosity or their emotionality around it. I try to really be a sponge and a springboard to where they come in. So you'll watch in certain episodes just our one song, and the next one can be a different song, and yet we're still within the same orchestra hall. It's really, I think that's real special, and I never imagined myself doing this. And my friend Ilan, who produces it, and said to me, let's do this thing. Ilan Gale, genius, he kept encouraging me, and I'm really proud of the show. And I do want to normalize talking about death and dying and the things that we've talked about just during this interview, because I think that they are important things. Mental health, our fears and feeling alone and isolated, and then death and dying. It's just one of the very, very, very things that we all have in common. I don't care where you're from. I don't care how you worship. I don't care what money you have. I don't care, what your belief system, what your political party is. We're all going to do that,
We have a lot of music. Yeah. If you haven't watched, it's well.
You're all going to die. And it's okay to be scared about that. And it's also okay to feel at peace about it. And it's okay to have a belief system that totally buttons it up for you. I don't, but I am grateful for you if you do. And it's okay if you don't have a belief system that buttons it up all for you. And it's okay to believe whatever, just let's talk about it,
We have a lot of mutual friends. I've enjoyed watching them on there. I know your Rolodex is huge. Who's the white whale you haven't landed for that you look forward to or want?
I mean, at this point, it almost feels like the fantasy, because I just don't know how it would ever be possible. But my white whale has always been the king in himself, Stephen King. I would just give anything to get him in
I'd
the
get
casket.
to watch that.
Yeah, I'd love to get him, but I don't think he does much interviews anyway. I don't think he really
often.
gets out.
You'd probably have to go to Maine or something.
I would do it! Steven, are you watching?
I'm picturing him
I'm coming.
carrying coffins on the plane. He probably has a couple of coffins.
Probably.
We're almost out of time. And somebody said this to me yesterday, and I just was cracking up because I was thinking, you're in everything lately. You're in film, TV, comics, the Grave Conversations. You do publicity, and you actually have real life too. Have you mastered time in some way that you stop it? How the hell do you do all this?
I don't know, but I'm grateful. I do have a lot of energy, but I obviously chalk a lot of gratitude up to being, on a path of sobriety. That's been very beneficial. So I don't wake up hungover in the morning. Trying to tend to my mental health. I have kids that really put things in perspective for me, because whenever I feel caught up in myself and ideas of myself and my this is so important, you remember, like, no, what I gotta do for them is the most important thing, so that helps keep me in line. I don't eat great, but I do try to eat well. I do try to take care of my health. I like feeling good, and eating well does help me mentally. So yes, I do have many nights of the week that it's just pizza, and fried chicken's like my favorite food. But I try to balance well. I do a little bit of yoga every morning. I do a little meditation. I do prayer and meditation, and I like a little exercise, like a walk. But I surround myself with people who elevate me, and I've worked really hard on that. I surround myself with really great people. I have this wonderful office, and the good fiends that are part of my team and my collaborative process, and the people that I enjoy spending time with, my friends who I play Magic the Gathering and Werewolf and Blood on the Clock Tower with. That's the secret sauce, that's the fuel food for my soul. And I do try to get, I battle insomnia, and I struggled with insomnia, but I've been on a good run lately, and I can get in bed and passed out by 11:15. I try not to do too much work at night too. I like to really focus on the kids, and then I do some work at night, but I like to be asleep by 11:15 if I can, and then usually up at 6:15 making lunches and getting them ready for the day. I don't know. And I go, I don't know. Drink a lot of water.
Well, this is all the time we've had.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Everybody say thank